Live on Lockdown, brought to you by Total Agri cross-country racing team. Welcome once again to Live on Lockdown, courtesy of Total Agri. Our first guest in a four-part mini-series is going to be the main man himself. He's got more cross-country starts and finishes than any other racer out there. An incredible man with so much history. It's only right that we kick things off with Coetzee Labuscagne. Coetzee, thank you for joining us. Thanks for finding time. You look like the Total Agri bandit there, playing the game with the mask on. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, Matt. Hello, thanks. It's nice talking to you during this lockdown. You know, it's nice talking to everybody. You can see I'm safe and sound here at my house, staying safe with the Total mask on. So what I'm going to do now is take it off, and then we can have a nice chat. But appeal to all the guys out there, guys, stay safe. It's going to be worthwhile.
Yeah, that's right. And I echo those sentiments from Coetzee. Let's all play the game. And when you're at home, yeah, you can take the mask off. When you go out, make sure you put a mask on. Keep that social distancing up. Coetzee, what's lockdown been like for you? I mean, I know you're still in kind of recovery mode from your issues that you had last year. But what's been happening your side for the last couple of months?
Matt, it's been very frustrating, you know, but it all depends on how you deal with the frustrations. You know, you've got to make the best of it. I mean, life is not easy as it is, so you got to adapt to it, you know. And we as South Africans, we're renowned for our adaptability, and especially with off-road racing. If you've been an off-road racer, you've got to very much be able to adapt, you know, because things are not always running smooth.
I was going to say if there's a good analogy there, that's the one, because cross-country off-road racing, you guys have got to make all kinds of plans. The reason this whole thing came about was myself and Sandra were chatting about how we can kind of shine a light on and give a little bit more leverage to the sponsors of Total Agri. And we came up with this concept, and we said it's only right that we talk to the main man and kick things off nicely. So tell me where it all started for you, Coetzee, because looking through your CV, there were a couple of surprises early on. Where did it all begin?
Yes, Matt, you take my memory back quite a long time. You know, I hope I can get all the facts together. It started off in my motorsport career, actually started off in 1980. I drove Formula V's on the racetracks, and that was on, you know, on the track, and the single seaters, it taught you to drive very clean lines and all that sort of things. And then I had to take a sabbatical from that and build a company. And, you know, but my love was always there for motorsport, and I was interested in motorsport. And one day, a couple of guys that knew from my Formula V racing history invited me to go and do a cross-country club race at Vredefort. And, well, the only thing I had available to do that was a short wheelbase SVM Jeep at that point in time. So, yeah, I went out there with a friend of mine, which for the first time in his life saw a so-called notebook. And we didn't really know what to do, and we pulled off quite leisurely. And within the first couple of meters, we were passed by about 5, 6 guys, and we said, hey, we got to better get a shake-up, you know, and hurry up. And, well, to cut the story short, at the end of the day, we won the race overall with 17 seconds. And obviously our class, there was a couple of guys in Sandmasters with their noses a little bit out of joint. But yeah, that's similar where the buck has bitten me. And, you know, being very ignorant about the cross-country racing sport, we entered that same SVM Jeep as a stock standard vehicle into the Roof of Africa those years.
Yeah.
And we all know that the Roof of Africa is always one of the toughest races that I've ever done. And well, we ended up with the DNF. And we sat down and gave it some thought and says, yes, guys, it's very nice. That's what we want to do. That's a form of race format that we're interested in. But we should look around at getting better equipment. And we went and we bought a car from Giel Nel, which he has built himself. It's just called the Tupperware Special because of its body panels was made out of Maziplex. And
yeah,
this car was
that's not a good looking vehicle. I'll be honest.
No. Definitely, we didn't buy it for its looks there. What was interesting about this car, it was quite a big mixed grille. I think at the end of the day, we did some calculations and there were 27 or 21 different car manufacturer parts into that car. So Johan Gerber, my business partner, and myself bought this car. We could have raced it in Class C. And we actually did very well with that car. We won the Class C championship, I think South African Class C championship about twice. And yeah, that's where all the cross-country racing has started off.
And back then, I mean, you talked about the Roof of Africa and those kind of classic events that you were racing back then in the 80s and that. I mean, I've only been involved in the modern times where they were essentially known as sprint races. But back then, that can only be described as pure survival races, really, weren't they?
No, it was pure survival races. And I mean, you know, the sportsmanship those years also played a very big part. You know, if you pass over and he was standing there with a flat tire, you would stop, get out of the car, say, oh, this route is rough, you know, and have a chat with him. And then help him, and you have sort of a gentleman's agreement that, you know, for the next 5 kilometers, when his flat is fixed and you get back into your car, you guys wouldn't race. He wouldn't pass you for 5 kilometers. That was a gentleman's agreement. And after that, that's, you know, every guy for himself again.
Exactly. And then just to jump forward, you went from Gora Gora, as you called it, and the Tupperware car, and then you started getting more of a feel for the Buckys. And the Buckys have always been like the Northwest province. All those guys have always been the Buckys. And you were a real Bucky guy straight after that, and for so many years as well. You almost went through all the classes, didn't you?
Yeah, no. I started off with a Class E car. That was a Toyota Hilux with solid axles and solid leaf springs. My dental bill went up quite dramatically. I don't think any of the youngsters today would survive 20 Ks in that sort of car. At that point in time, my friend still today and our racing engineer, Piet Jennis, used to navigate for me. And Piet decided no, that navigating is not for him. So from the Class E, I upgraded to Class D because Nissan was getting into motorsport at that point in time quite seriously. And Johan Gerber, my business partner, and then we acquired a Nissan Class D, Nissan hardbody. And that sort of was a relationship and a partnership which carried on for 16 years. You know, so yeah, we
I'm going to say
enjoyed
those cars were bulletproof, weren't they? They really just, I mean, there's still some of them racing up in the Northwest still now. Probably that model, in fact. Definitely,
yeah. No, they are still going quite strong. Those years as Nissan privateer team, we had a hell of a lot of help from Glenore. And, you know, we firstly, we manufactured and, you know, there's not a lot of changes that you could have done to that Class D cars. But, yeah, later on, as we carried on, we acquired a little bit more sponsors, you know, with the idea of the sponsor that maybe the company's delivery vehicle was similar Nissan or whatever the case may be. So a lot of the guys could have associated a lot better with that than with the space frames. So, yeah, we continued and we were very thankful for, you know, for once in our life, we really got good support from Nissan through their privateer support team. And we enjoyed that, racing those Buckys for many years. You know, notable guys, the competition was very strong those years. Class E, I was racing against, you know, the guys that's still racing today was Chris Visser, the Birkin brothers, and even Mark Ronier and his brother at some point in time there. Guys like Igu, Box, those guys were very competitive, you know, and once we upgraded to the Class D cars, We even had the Duncan Vosses and the Alfie Coxes come into the play with Hein Grobler from Clarksdorp. And, it was really, the cars were very, very similar. And it was, how well you did on the day. And if you missed the rocks and all that stuff, it was your lucky day. You could have finished,
Yeah, and some would say the heydays of the off-roads as well. I mean, you talk about legends of the sport, and you did go up against them all. But towards the end of those days of racing in the production vehicle categories, you started to thinking about more challenges, and then you started looking at the buggies, the open wheelers, or what the guys know out there as the special vehicles. So that was almost the next stage of your development as a racer, wasn't it?
Yeah, what actually brought it on was Nissan's withdrawal from the motorsport, and obviously there, the biggest support went out with that. And at firstly, Johan said, okay, right, he thinks he'll hang up his helmet for a while, Johan Gerber. And I said to myself, okay, right, but I have such a great love for this sport that I can't stop doing this now. So I went out and I tested Giel Nels Zarco at that point in time, and I scared Giel quite a bit, so that he hasn't spoken for me for quite a while. And since then, he haven't let me loose behind any of his car's wheels since that day. Then I sourced a Zarco light, 2 liter, which was Class B. And obviously, Sandra being very supportive and also had a love for cross-country racing. And, I said, come on. She had a couple of seasons with Giel in a navigating seat when I was still riding the productions. And then I stuck her next to me in the navigating seat, and we enjoyed it. We first went out with, at that point in time, I called it my retirement little car. And we were only supposed to do a little bit of regionals. But we are both very competitive, and soon we find ourselves on the national scene, and we were racing nationals, and there was also some very, very competitive guys out there, like Vesper Seidenote and, a lot of those guys. We upgraded the Class B car to a 6-cylinder and raced in Class B. And then a couple of years after that, we decided, right, now it's time to run with the big dogs. And we acquired the Porter, which Sandra is currently racing. And I thought, just getting a little bit older, and towards the end of my career, I wanted to drive one of the top classes.
Those cars blow me away. I mean, the amount of power that you've got under your right foot, the amount of suspension you've got to work with, it is true. You can hit practically anything with those cars, isn't it?
Yeah, no, they're quite forgiving, but they're quite nice to drive as well. They give you quite a good thrill. And, the old saying with motor racing is you never have enough power, brakes, suspension, and money. So, that's we have a couple of that. So, at this point in time, the money has always been on the short side. But we make do with what we have, and we're very pleased with the support that we get from guys.
So from very humble beginnings in a Formula V back in the day, I mean, your first taste of the open wheelers, we'll come back to that. Then you went into a little bit of off-road, then you went into the production vehicles, then you made the big move up into the Class A's eventually, and that's where I've always known you. I mean, I've only been involved in the sport for the last 5 or 6 years, and it's been a pleasure getting to know all of the characters and watch the changes. But the one thing that never changed was the Porter. It was always red up until 2 years back, where you handed the mantle across to Sandra. And I actually didn't realize that you stepped into a little Taz hire car. We used to call it hire car racing back in the day. You called it rally racing. Well, tell us about that little journey you had as well.
No, we decided to have a little bit of fun. And the little rally Tazes, those cars are very good value for money for racing. And we acquired actually 2 of them, which were very, very similar. And Sandra not having the opportunity ever to come to the go-kart scene, I thought, now, okay, right, let's stuck her in one of these cars. And I had to challenge myself to get into a front-wheel drive car because I never raced a front-wheel drive car in my life. And I don't tell anybody, but she whipped my ass on a couple of the early stages. Not by much, but I was always having an excuse there that I'm giving her the best car to drive. But yeah, no, we enjoyed that quite a lot. I didn't. I enjoyed rallies, but you too much out of the car. It costs you too much in sunblock to put up, because you spend more time outside the car than actually inside the car.
It's true. You're always waiting for your go in the stage, and then afterwards it's faffing around before you can go in the DSP. I know exactly what you mean. Off-road is much better, much better. Coetzee, of all your seasons, obviously I've been doing the research. Sandra's been helping me incredibly with all the stuff building up to these shows. We'll talk about your best season to date, but we've put together a little highlights package for you. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope the people at home enjoy it. And when we come back from this package, we'll talk about your ultimate season. Enjoy this.
Great stuff.
Now that was your championship winning season. There's two things going on in that video that you'll know about, of course. The fact that the car was running the A100, the yellow sticker, meant you had, by the beginning of that season, you completed 100 races. So you were the most experienced racer on the tour. And also that was the season where you got your championship, but it was a hard season, wasn't it? It was a tough one.
Yeah, well, off-road racing is a very cruel sport, to start off with, but you have seasons and you have bad seasons, and I must tell you that was one of the greatest seasons. We were one and only car in the whole of the cross-country series, even the factory cars, which finished all the races. And in the beginning of the season, we were obviously not the favorites for the championship, because there were some quick and fast and furious guys in there. But we just kept on nibbling away at it, keep on gathering points and everything there. And I must say at this point in time, I enjoyed very much with Sandra riding with me. And she's doing an excellent job. And I'm not saying that just because she's my daughter. She's proven herself on other fields in international racing, which is actually quite good to hold her own there. But yeah, that was a great season for me. Not that we had any trouble-free runs, at one point in time, Charmaine said, we always seemed to be grinding out the result. And then a lot of times it took a bit of a hard grind.
Yeah, let's talk about that hard grind there, because on points is probably the bit of history that you and Sandra will never forget, not just you guys, but also the fans and all the media, myself included. The sight of the tripod in the desert. And as I've always said with my commentary, if you can win the desert, you can win any race. And you won the desert in some style in 2018. Tell us about the moment, how you removed one of the wheels and how you decided to actually bring it home.
Well, on the first day, our service crew gave us the wrong message and was telling us that everybody else was catching up to us. And we decided, yes, we had to go very hard. And, we pushed very hard. And by the beginning of the last day, we were leading the class by something like an hour and 20 minutes. And everybody was cautioning me and telling me, listen, just go out, cruise around and finish the race. Please don't push, don't race anybody. You've got an hour and 20-minute lead. So we went out there normally, but if you race, you race. You can't really push. Sometimes you push a little bit harder, and sometimes you don't push that hard. And I don't know, we didn't hit anything, and all of a sudden, the left front wheel was gone. And I thought we just had a flat, and I said to somebody, okay, let's get out and fix this flat. And she said to me, but the wheel is gone. I said to her, what do you mean it's gone? I mean, it's flat, yeah, it's not gone. She says, no, it's missing. I got out of the car, and the stop axle was broken off, and the whole of the wheel were really gone. It wasn't there. Nowhere to be seen. And it broke off not because we hit anything, it broke off because of fatigue. And I sat there, and that was 56 k's from the end to the finish. And I said to myself, yeah, we can't, it can't be this cruel. We can't give up now. We never give up. So I said, let's get back into the car. She says, let's go and find the wheel first. I said, no, bugger the wheel. Get into the car. That wheel is useless to us now. I said, it's soft sand. We most probably will make it. And yeah, we started carrying on, chipping away the 56 k's. Had a couple of scary moments when, we forgot that we didn't have any brakes by that point in time. And yeah, we had, like I said, a couple of scary moments, and a couple of moments where the car stalled and we battled to get it going, and we really thought, nah, this time it's now really over. But yeah, we have a never die, never give up attitude. And we made it to the finish, and we still won that class and the special vehicle category overall by 16 minutes.
Yeah, it actually was a little bit close to the bone, wasn't it? The guys were definitely coming for you, but like we said, if you can survive and tough it out and beat the desert, you can win the championship. And I think that's when you guys really started to believe that you could nail down that championship. Not that it was over, because you really did have to fight for every single point all the way down to the final race, didn't you?
Yeah, I think the desert race are a very big race. Everybody looks forward to it. And I know a lot of guys there that will save up all their money just to go and do one race a year. And that's the desert race. That's the big one. Most guys dream to win the desert in class. Most guys dream to win the desert overall in the category. And I mean, at 60 years of age, I am privileged to have done that, and I'm even more privileged to have done that with my daughter.
Yeah, it's an incredible story, Coetzee. It really is. And then I think it was that season as well, or might be in the season before. I'm a little bit hazy. But I think Sandra jumped across and did a little bit of international racing as well, just to kind of add more things to her CV and give her more experience to get herself ready for what would be, and she didn't know it at the time, what would be her stepping into the driver's seat come 2019.
Yeah, that was actually in 2017, the year before that, where she got selected for this FIA Women in Motorsport. And she did 4 international races, which I went over there and supported her, which was an eye-opener for myself. I always thought, one tends to think that everything overseas is always better and faster and so on. But I must tell you, it was an eye-opener for me to see that the standard of our cross-country racing in South Africa are very, very high. And if it wasn't for harsh exchange rates and problems to go in a race there, we would actually make quite an impact there. And I think we see that with the performance which the guys like Janelle and of the few guys which go out there and do international races, the results which they achieve there is really actually, proof of what we're doing here in South Africa and how our standards.
No, you're right. Most of the guys that go across there, I'd say probably 60% of the South Africans that go across actually do perform incredibly well. I mean, I'll never forget Henny going across there as a gentleman racer and winning the rookie finish at Dakar a couple of years back. That was a huge eye-opener, and I think a lot of people started to jump onto that. And then, I'm a big fan of the motorbikes as well, and, Ross Branch and Kenny, those guys have, basically become superstars from racing and waving the flag at the Dakar as well. It's a huge, huge thing when the SA crews get across there.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, a lot of guys doesn't realize to start fourth or fifth or sixth on the road, even in the first 10 up in a Dakar, makes a huge difference than when you start back in position 30 something. It's totally different. The road are chewed up by that point in time. The sand is loose. I think it's quite as difficult. I think if some of the major front runner guys got to start on position 50, they will also battle for that day.
Yeah, exactly. Getting caught in all the roost and the bad ruts. So let's talk about the next step of your career, and of course the career of Total Agri. Beginning of 2019, you guys started partnering with Total Agri, and we were all expecting to see you and Sandra in the car once again, but you stepped out of the car, Sandra stepped into the car, and you took over a new role as mentor and pit boss. Tell us about that move.
Yes, yeah, I don't know whether it's a promotion or a demotion, but yeah, at presently I'm sort of the team manager for the Total Agri team, which is an excellent sponsor, and the guys are very supportive of us, and I support Sandra, and it's a different role because you got to concentrate and make sure that a lot of things are in place. And the sort of team principles which are doing very well, like Glenn and Neil Woolrich, they are guys which is quite meticulous and they look at the smallest things as well as the big things there. You've got to keep a lot of things together. I have been, with the racing, in all formats of it, and I've in the navigating seat. I've built cars myself. I've driven cars myself, and now from team organizing, it's a little bit different, And supporting Sandra there, I think it's nerve-wracking. She's gone through a very, very steep learning curve, and I think she's doing excellent at this point in time. That car, like you said before, is a beast. It's not easy to control. It's not easy to ride, and it pushes your limits to yourself. And I think she's had bad luck with a couple of mechanical stuff, but further on, I expect great things from her, and I think she'll improve quite rapidly.
Coetzee, tell me about the connection with yourself and the Total Agri team. It was incredible to see them coming on board. We obviously know Total coming in for a lot of the other teams. They do sponsor a lot of the other teams, but the Agri flavor obviously coming in from your side, and you guys have been championing that brand. Tell us how that came together.
Oh, well, the Total Agri thing is that Total was looking for somebody to promote their product. And they were looking for down to the ground sort of guys to do that can get on well with the target guys around there. So yeah, and one thing about the Total Agri things is that with the tractors and the agriculture implements, which has improved quite a lot. And it's not the old tractor where you can put any sort of oil in it there. Those things have got semi-automatic gearboxes and have become quite sophisticated. And with that sophistication, you need a very well lubricant to go with that. And that's where Total Agri comes in there. And over the years, they have developed a very, very, very good lubricant product, and it's very nice to have them on board. They have a little website where we can go on. And actually, any farmer that sees me next to the road can come up to me and says to me, he's got a John Deere 2040. What oil should you use into that? And I can just, without being a boffin, pulling out my phone there, go onto a little website and say to him, well, this is the oil you should put in the transmission. This is what you should put in the engine, and that's the hydraulic oil and everything. So that guy goes around there away, and he feels happy that I could have specified his specific vehicle which he needs the products for.
And so often we are racing on the tours out in the farmlands as well. So we are on farmers' lands So it's a great fit. It's a great mix. And yeah, I can totally understand why Total Agri went with you guys, specifically with you, Coetzee. You've definitely got that down-to-earth feel with the farmers. I understand that.
Yeah, but if I go down there, other day with this lockdown thing, I actually dusted off a couple of my trophies. And I just realized one thing, that nowadays, it's always nice to get a trophy. I mean, you should be not racing for trophies, but it's always nice to receive one. And in the olden days, what was interesting there is that we received quite a couple of unique trophies. The guys went into special detail to make up those trophies, and I would just like to show you a couple of them. Which this is one of the old Caledon ones.
Lovely bit of
this was in 1998. This is a piece of wood, and I mean this is a unique trophy. I mean the navigator in that class driven with me there, he hasn't got a trophy like that. So that was a unique trophy. Then the guys at Rustenburg, they thought about the rocks there, and they gave us a rock as a trophy. Which I'm glad I came only third in that race, because otherwise you get a bigger rock,
Yeah, you've got to carry it home.
You've got to carry it home. Yes, the guys from the Sugar Belt, they always give you a lot of these pangos. And I mean, some guys use them, they've won so many that they actually use them for gardening tools. And, I'm not going to show you all my trophies, so you can relax. And one unique one was the one that we actually got in East London, which was a steel pineapple.
Oh wow! Look at that.
Which we got. There's not many around of them. Then you have the special trophies, like the desert trophies, the Toyota 1000 desert trophies, which was quite nice, which you actually won. And there will always be the trophies which is unique, to you for that point in time, But yeah, to get back to the agri thing, it's our sponsor, and they always make sure that we stay lubricated, and with that, and with we have a little bit of shortage in the lockdown, So yeah, we lubricated and.
Cheers, Coetzee. Cheers, Coetzee.
Yeah, so there we stay lubricated, and thanks to our sponsor, Total Agri, which always ensure us keep the wheels running smoothly and keep us on the road.
Coetzee, you're an original and you're a gentleman. Thank you so much for sharing your history, talking to us, and filling in the gaps for my little gaps in my knowledge. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for your time. We're looking forward to in 2 weeks' time, where we'll be talking to Sandra. Then 2 weeks after that, it'll be Jaco's turn. He's going to have a couple of stories to tell. He's only been in the chair for about, I think, 14 months, something like that. So he's at a long learning curve. And then we're going to end off our series by talking directly to Total Agri. But Coetzee, thank you. You're a true gentleman. Thank you so much for all that you have given to the sport and for joining us here on Lockdown.
Thank you very much, Matt, for the opportunity. And I would just like to say to everybody, stay safe and never give up. We'll get through this. Cheers.
So that was Coetzee Labuscagne, our first esteemed guest on the first of a four-part mini-series brought to you by Total Agri. As we said, in 2 weeks' time, we'll be chatting to Sandra Labuscagne, about her move coming out of the navigator seat and into the full-time driver's seat. That's going to be in 2 weeks' time, so watch for the press on that. We're going to sign off. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And once again, this live on Lockdown action was proudly brought to you by Total Agri.